everything you need to know about wholesale drop shipping and drop shippers. If you're planning to start an online business but do not want to add extra stock in your store, this article is for you. In this article, you will learn about the amazing idea of drop shipping and how it helps in the selling of items easily with profit. So, without any delay, let's get started. What is drop shipping and how does it work? First things first. You need to clear your idea about drop shipping. In today's world, drop shipping is known to be one of the fastest ways to make money through an online business. Usually, the general setup for your online store requires you to purchase items in bulk stock to sell them to the customers. This is not a good idea because in case your items do not get sold, you will have a bulk amount of them in the store and they will go useless. Drop shopping saves you from trouble and makes the online business much easier for you. You do not have to buy items in bulk in this case. Rather, all you have to do is find a good company of drop shippers who supply wholesale items. Don't worry, we will explain it all to you. Then, whenever a customer comes to buy a certain thing from you, you can contact the drop shipping company who can deliver the item directly to the customer at a profitable rate. This risk-free investment can save you from being stuck up with too much extra stock and you can enjoy a hassle-free online business. Benefits. Drop shipping is very beneficial for an online business. Here are some of the major benefits it offers. 1. No need to buy stock in bulk. Through this process, you are saved from spending too much money buying the items in bulk, which if not sold, can go totally useless. 2. Ease of shipping the product to the customer. You do not have to pack or ship the product. The drop shipper will do it all for you. 3. You can get started anytime, even today. Yes, that's right. You do not need any long-term planning and investment for this. Just choose the right product for your online business, find a drop shipper selling wholesale items, and start making sales today. How to make money from it? Now that's a very relevant question. Here is the procedure to it. 1. First of all, you have to open an online store to sell the items you want to drop ship. A popular place to do this is eBay. 2. Second, find a drop shipper that can supply your product directly to the customer. 3. Third, increase the prices by 10 to 50% according to your choice to make a profit that you aim for. 4. And that's it. Start selling and earn money online. How to find a drop shipper? There are a lot of drop shippers that you go through on the internet. You cannot trust all of them. They may take away all your money and disappear. The easiest way to find a reliable drop shipper is through Wholesale. Wholesale is basically an online directory with more than 8,000 drop shippers and wholesalers. You can easily use this directory to find out the verified suppliers with whom you can do safe online business. We will be discussing more about Wholesale in the later sections, so keep reading to learn more about it. How to import items from Chinese suppliers. Most of the items that we want for our online business are available with the Chinese suppliers. Now the question arises here, is it safe to import items from a Chinese supplier? The answer to this is no. It's not safe to import items from an unknown supplier as they may either take away your money without sending the stock or may not send you the legitimate products. In that case, you need to do a lot of research to find out the right supplier who you can trust with your business and money. Wholesale, as discussed, is an amazing secret to help you with that. The directory helps you find the most reliable suppliers who you can work on long-term for your online business. It is safe and secure, and you can easily import good quality products from the supplier. About Wholesale. Through Wholesale, you can find over 1.6 million products from more than 8,000 genuine suppliers, who are selling good quality wholesale items at genuine prices. The directory makes it very easy to find the right product and supplier, just according to your needs and demands. What does it offer? Wholesale provides you with some amazing benefits that are listed below. Easy and quick search. With over 8,000 suppliers, you can easily choose the right supplier you've been looking for. 1. Just a browse away. If you are not sure of what to sell, Wholesale can even help you with that. From the smallest things like baby gear to something like swords, everything is available in this directory. 2. Advanced filters to find out the right supplier according to your requirements. You just have to enter your requirements and Saleho will shortlist the suppliers right according to what you want. 3. Helps you with minimum or very low quantity orders. Saleho helps you to find the suppliers who can supply items at a wholesale price, no matter how less the quantity is. 4. No danger of counterfeit products. The suppliers listed in the Saleho directory are reliable and sell only legitimate products, so you do not have to worry about counterfeit goods. If you are not using Saleho, here are some tips of how you can import items safely for your business. 1. Look thoroughly into the history of the suppliers. Try choosing a supplier with more than 2 years of experience and look into history to know more about the services. 2. Go through the reviews as they are a direct picture of the services provided by the supplier. It is always safe not to use a supplier with no reviews. 3. Ask the supplier for some free samples, and buy in small quantities first. 4. Go through the website and check if it was online for 2+ years. Also, check the WHOIS details. 5. Search for their physical location on Google Places to verify if it actually exists. Some more tips for selling items through an online business. Doing an online business is all about finding the right niche, doing market research to find out the top-selling items, and choosing the right audience for your products. Let's discuss each of these in detail. Choosing the right niche for your online business. Choosing the right niche helps is important as it narrows down a certain market segment and helps in targeting the right audience for your business. As there is a lot of competition online, you need to have a thorough research of what the customers actually want. Supplying items according to the market's wants and needs help you grow your business and get repeated customers. Choosing profitable products to sell. If you're planning to start an online business but not sure what to sell, the Saleho Market Research Lab can be a great help for you. The Research Lab helps you find out the products with good sales and low market competition. Thus, you can earn maximum profit selling products that the market actually wants. Here is what the Market Research Lab offers. 1. Easy filter to find out the products with low market competition. Saleho Market Research Lab filters out the super competitive products so that it is easier for you to figure out the products with less competition and more sales. 2. Easy filter to find out the products with good selling rates. You can use a slider control to find out the products that have a good selling rate. Sell rate of at least 40% combined with low competition is perfect for selling high-profit products. 3. Finds out the accurate selling price for the products you choose. It finds out the average selling price that you can work on to gain the maximum profit. 4. Figures out the market trends. It shows the sales according to the market trends, making it easier for you to plan for seasonal products. 5. Provides you with the latest trends. It is updated every few days, so you can get to know the latest market trends very conveniently. 6. It's free. That's the best part. The Market Research Lab is free for everyone. However, the paid subscribers have an extra advantage of getting access to some great supplier suggestions for their products. Choosing the right audience. Having an identified audience helps you focus better on your services, leading to success in business. You can identify the audience getting benefits from your services by thoroughly analyzing the key features of your niche. If you segment your audience according to their gender, age, hobbies, education, income, and occupation, you can market your products more specifically. To know more about your audience, you can put up the questionnaires and surveys that can help you work on your services in a better way by targeting a specific market segment. The final words. An online business requires careful analysis and thorough research of what you want to do and how can successfully do it. The best online business is the one that requires less effort and gives more profit. Drop shipping can help you a lot with that. All you have to do is open an online store on eBay, choose the right products that you want to sell from the Market Research Lab, find out a good wholesale dropshipper on Saleho, and start it right away. Using our secret tips, you can grow your online business to the next level in no time. Best of luck!